When you adjust the box office from pre-Endgame, pre-COVID, phases 1, 2, 3 to now, the average Marvel movie today is pulling in something like 30% of the audience to maybe 40% of the audience as it was before Endgame. It's not narrowed. It left.
Renegade Online.
Disney was the unrefuted box office king last year. Okay. It will win again this year. Okay. With 2 films potentially crossing the billion mark. Avatar, Fire and Ash, and Zootopia 2. Now, I know, I had to... Disney doesn't own Avatar. Disney spent $70 billion to buy a library of stuff at Fox that they have barely utilized. Fox's portion of Hulu, which Disney is still barely making money from because it's getting sucked down by Disney Plus, and the distribution rights to Avatar, which James Cameron and Lightstorm fully own. Look, I'm going to tell you right now, in terms of money machine, in terms of profitability, nobody's beating Warner Brothers this year. I don't care how they want to song and dance this. You're not beating Warner Brothers this year for what they've managed to pull off with some of these films. And a lot of them barely costing a penny. Or 4 movies from 4 Disney labels have grossed more than $1 billion in the past 16 months. No other studio has had that in that time frame. Okay, but again, no others, and I hate when they do this, no other studio out there spends money like Disney does on every freaking movie they make. Disney puts out 6 or 7 films every year that each cost at least $200 to $250 million or more, or sometimes a lot more.
Right.
Looking at you, Snow White.
Everything they make is make or break. And this is something I could have brought up at any point in this conversation. In 2019, Disney made 7 films in that year before they bought Fox. 7 total films at the box office. This is a studio that does not know how to make a film that is not a huge franchise, money-making, budgeted film.
Freakier Friday was the first one I can remember in a while that came out with some fanfare behind it. And it was a truly, and I'm not talking about Fox Searchlight, now owned by Disney, released a little indie film. Because Disney doesn't even acknowledge those things themselves. They really don't. But I mean, like Freakier Friday, they spent $35 million, whatever it was, on to make. That's the last time I can remember that, that's a movie that was a purely Disney-owned property. It wasn't acquired. And it was actually mentioned by Disney on an earnings call. So, but yeah, you're right. How many times do we see Disney pop out a $35 million movie that they try to put a lot of buzz behind, picks up and becomes a thing? Like Weapons, like Sinners, like this is why it's the year of Warner Brothers.
I struggle to think what the budget original Parent Trap, and I'm talking the original Parent Trap, like Haley Mills.
Oh yeah,
across the screen from Haley Mills' Parent Trap.
Probably not even $1 million bucks.
Right. And it's a classic. I know people don't watch it now, but it definitely made its money back. Disney doesn't do that anymore. The closest thing would have been something like Freakier Friday that they would have made for a song and then put it out in theaters and having a chance of making its money back. I'll give you an example. Hocus Pocus 2. That probably should have gone into theaters.
Yeah.
But Disney Plus.
They had to sacrifice it to the almighty gods of Disney Plus. Yeah.
Exactly.
So it's staggering to rival studios and deal makers that Disney is looking to blaze new trails after years of being the envy of the town, having counted for so long on sure things from the worlds of Iron Man and the Jedi. Did they though? Iron Man, yeah, but he gone. He done. Marvel not coming back. It's just not.
I don't know if you've heard this, but he's coming back. He's going to be Doctor Doom.
Yeah.
In the biggest movie that they've never led up to.
Right.
In any way.
Exactly. And the Jedi. Could we stop with the Star Wars stuff? They killed that. That's done. That was never a thing. Nobody has been sated with Star Wars. Nobody. Okay. Maybe fat purple-headed Raylo lesbian chicks or whatever. Maybe, but there's just not that many of them. Disney CEO Bob Iger confirmed as much on a quarterly earnings call this month, which we covered live, saying that his film group won't favor existing IP over original material. The priority, Bob Iger said, is to put out great movies. Awesome. When are you going to start? I mean, like this year? Next year? 2 years from now after you go on? When are we going to start the great movies? I'm not saying that, obviously. They have some. Lilo and Stitch was a big hit, and audiences seem to really like it. They have seemed to course correct on some of the really hardcore woke stuff, and only because they finally caught up to the financial reality that we have been saying for years, that this is a deal breaker with audiences and it's going to cost you billions. It has cost them billions, and now they can't afford to lose more billions. Which is why this has happened. Walt Disney Studios declined to provide comment for this story.
except for the fact that it's definitely somebody from the Disney company that is commenting on this story,
right?
That provided them this information. So after they got confirmation from the company, they went to the official channels, and the official channel said, "Nope, we're not talking about that."
No. Much has been written about the narrowing audience for superhero movies. The narrowing audience. It's gone. It didn't narrow. It collapsed. It came out from under your feet. And you fell 1,000 feet to the ground and turned into people spaghetti at the bottom when you splatted. It left the building. This is we've covered this. You look at the box office just look at the 3 Marvel movies this year. $375 million for Thunder Dummies, $415 million for Captain Falcon DEI, and about maybe it'll get to around $500 million for Fantastic Four. Dude, that's it, when you adjust the box office from pre-Endgame, pre-COVID, phases 1, 2, 3 to now. The average Marvel movie today is pulling in something like 30% of the audience to maybe 40% of the audience as it was before Endgame. It's not narrowed. It left. Again, the choice of verbiage in this article is hilariously. The performance of Marvel's latest release, Fantastic Four, which aimed to launch yet another superhero franchise led by Pedro Pascal. Can you just stop it right there? I think they put the comment in the wrong place. They're launching another superhero franchise led by Pedro Pascal. How many superhero franchises are led by Pedro Pascal? Well, at Disney, I guess now too, if you count Mando as a superhero. It failed to meet expectations.
Well, they expected it not to be a boring movie, and it failed to meet that expectation. I really have no patience for Fantastic Four. It began and ended with the idea that this is all leading to Doomsday,
and nobody saw it.
Right. And
nobody went
to go see this. No one cared about the planet full of cardboard people that have no personalities that were looking to the Fantastic Four, who, if you think their origin story or them wrestling with the emotional weight of transforming into these superpowered beings, if you think that's interesting, they're not doing that in this film. Galactus shows up. He looks pretty cool. Otherwise, boring.
That's the only reason I wanted to go see it, was like when I realized that, Ralph Ineson is playing Galactus. Mm-hmm. I bet that's wicked. So I really want to go see that. And look, one of my favorite of all time characters in a Final Fantasy video game was the Final Fantasy 16 iteration of Sid, which is the character of Sid is always a different version, but he's been around since like Final Fantasy 2, 30 years ago. It failed. Fantastic Four failed to meet expectations. I'm guessing the expectations were that we would not lose as much money as we did. They didn't completely whiff on this one. They only lost maybe $50 to $75 million, so not too bad by Disney standards. That's despite good reviews, a promising opening weekend, and the full attention of Marvel czar Kevin Feige. Okay. Star Wars has not produced a film in 7 years. A big screen adaptation did the Disney Plus hit The Mandalorian is coming next year. I love how they throw that in. Just basically letting you know, Marvel has had stuff consistently coming out for the last 5 years, and nobody's watching it. And we haven't had a Star Wars movie in 7. It's been 5 years since an episode of The Mandalorian was a hit. You think Variety is hedging their bets a little here with this one? I would be, as far as Star Wars movies performance. One top film executive at Disney, or at a Disney rival, says every studio should be looking for originals as sequels and reboots continue to exhaust the culture.
There you go. There you go.
I wonder if that was, wouldn't it be funny if that was that executive at a rival studio was a guy named David Ellison?
Make sure you're subscribed to Valiant Renegade and join us every Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern for the live show.